Enron. This was a woman who worked for a company in this country that went out of business. And with the bankruptcy of the business came the bankruptcy of her retirement account. This woman just didn't lose her retirement account. She lost her independence and her dignity. And the shame of it might drive her to potentially get sick. And if so, you know who will take care of her? Members of her family. More particularly, the women in that family would have to take care of her. So as people live longer, they run the risk of a financial calamity or just running out of money. The other risk that people take is health risks, such as the diseases of the aged. Ronald Reagan, the former president of the United States, passed away last week, almost 10 years from the time he announced that he had Alzheimer's. While that's a tragedy, my heart goes out to Nancy Reagan, who coined the phrase that Alzheimer's is the long goodbye. And we dedicate this to Nancy Reagan and to all the Nancy Reagans throughout the world. Play the video.
Every family hit by Alzheimer's faces stress unique to the disease. To help face these pressures, Harry and Gladys each come to their own support groups.
How have things changed in your family?
What bothers me a lot in dealing with this is the stress I feel if I go out and leave him at home. I always call him, and if he doesn't answer the phone, then I drop everything and go back home again.
I just rant and rave. I just keep praying for the strength to accept his personality, because there's a big personality change. There's a lot of times that I really absolutely hate Harold. And it's not even that I hate him, I hate what's happening to him.
Yeah.
And then I feel bad about myself because I feel that way about him.
One of the quotes I read in the book, it said, "I'm not dying, I'm just disappearing before your very eyes." And I thought, that's what it is. It's like, and when you see that blank
And it's really
look,
hard.
that's the worst.
Caregivers are really doing the best they can to care for their family member. They do everything right, and the person still gets worse.
There isn't much that we can do as a profession so that poor lady in the red dress could go out and get a break. So that she knew that she could at least maintain her own physical health, her mental health, and also her financial wealth. And you know, ladies and gentlemen, one of the things that got me to this point in terms of my thought process is a hero of mine who happens to be in this room. I was fortunate enough to listen to an MDRT tape from Dr. Mother started the heart transplants down in South Africa. He talked about the 8th heart transplant patient, that's hard, you know. 8th heart transplant patient. I said it, you know what I mean, okay. The 8th guy, all right? He lived for 22 years, but he lived in abject poverty, was a double amputee the last 7 years of his life. It was a miserable existence, and as I heard this tape, which I would have not gotten had not the MDRT did it, and I wasn't there, but I envisioned it, that Dr. Barnard probably put his arms up. Here it was, one of the most famous doctors of the world talking to us, and what he said was, "Don't you understand the limitations of the medical profession? All we can do is extend life." And then I began to think about our business. And ladies and gentlemen, I believe this, and I want to imbue it in you. I believe that the products and services that we create today are as critical as heart-lung machines, because they just don't deal with the extension in life, they deal with the quality and dignity of life. And it also got me to think that perhaps with the products or services that I could create or motivate people to do, that through you, see, because you deal with the public, I don't, that through you, people like me and all of the home offices around the world, that your efforts allow us to live a life of significance, and I want to thank you for that. I saw a very disturbing article not too long ago. It was in the headlines of the Wall Street Journal. It said, how to protect yourself from your parents. I couldn't believe it. It was a legitimate article, and I wondered about it, you see, ladies and gentlemen, because in my life, my mother was in a hospital bed in an apartment with 2 kids in Manhattan. And at one time, I thought I was the only person who was dealing with this until I saw an AARP study. AARP did a study and asked people who are over 46 years of age, what's the number one or the biggest thing that happened to you in the last 5 years? Number 1 was taking care of a parent. Number 2 was the kid moved out. Number 3 was the kid moved back in. You can't make that up. But after I took care of my mother, I vowed that my children would never have to go through what my wife and I had to go through taking care of my mother.